So hi, my name is Brian Caffo, and I'm going to talk about shiny gadgets during this lecture. I'd like to thank Sean Cross, who works with the Data Science Lab here with us, for preparing these slides. So we used to cover a topic called Manipulate, and Manipulate was a little R package that was produced and created by RStudio for use in RStudio for simple, interactive, and easy data analysis. So if you need some interactive plots or something like that in a data analysis, Manipulate was a nice way to do it. However, they seem to have stopped developing on Manipulate, and I think I know why, because the Shiny environment is just kind of a better way to do it. And with Shiny gadgets, you can now do the same thing within the RStudio program, and it basically serves the same function of what Manipulate used to do. So just to discuss, the Shiny Gadgets is going to provide a way to just use Shiny's interactivity, but in data analysis. So it's going to be an easier and kind of quicker way to use it, and it's not going to be the full web development that we're going to be using Shiny for, where we want a kind of a forward-facing app that other people are going to use. Shiny Gadgets is more for us, or maybe for a handful of other people that are working with us on a data analysis. And then, since we're going to display the app in the small screen in the RStudio program, we're going to use the Mini UI package, which which helps us create the interfaces for the smaller screen. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit of this slide just because I think this is the core here. So a Shiny Gadget is a function that launches a small single-page Shiny application in the RStudio viewer pane. And again, since they're going to be viewed in the RStudio viewer pane, the Mini UI package comes in handy. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a simple Shiny Gadget, and we're going to reduce it down to the simplest possible program and go through the elements. So I'm going to switch over and do a code demonstration now. Okay, so here I am in RStudio. I've got the simplest possible Shiny Gadget that I grabbed from the code from the slides. Okay, the first two things I'm going to do is make sure Shiny and Mini UI are loaded. And if you don't have them, just make sure to do install.packages, or you can, of course, add in the packages by clicking your way to victory up here with the toolbars. But just do install.packages. It works for my version of R right now. My version is 3.2.1, so it's a little bit old. But I think if you have a really old version of R, you probably want to update, since this is some relatively new developments from RStudio. So, if you're running a very old version of R, then just update. It's pretty easy to do. So I would go ahead and do that. So your gadget is going to be a function. My first gadget here is our function. Okay, no arguments right now. We'll get to that later. And just like a Shiny app, it's got a user interface and a server function. So my UI here says mini page, and that's just the layout we're going to use. That's from the Mini UI library. And so we have the simplest possible page that we could create. All it's going to have is a title bar. So the command for adding a title bar element is gadget title bar, and let's just call it my first gadget. Okay, now my server is also a function, and it takes some arguments: input, output, and session. Okay, and then all our server is going to do now is it's just going to check the input for this variable done. Okay, and use the observe event function for when that's true to stop the app. Okay. So just kind of, I know the syntax, like Shiny, is a little bit weird and a little bit unusual relative to how we normally program in R, but I think once you get used to it, one thing you want to make sure is all the rules about reactivity and things like that are going to carry over from Shiny into our Shiny gadgets. Okay, and then we have our function that is run gadget, UI, and server. Okay, so everything's now contained in this function, so I need to source it. There we go. And now let's run it. My first gadget. Bam. Okay. Now see, it says listening. So it's created a little web server, and now RStudio is rendering that the web page and listening to the server right here in this viewer pane. And it just says my first gadget. So it doesn't do much right now, but if you click done, it just brings you back to the R prompt there. Okay, so this is an important first step to getting used to Shiny gadgets, but as you've already taken and done some Shiny, I think a lot of the more complex ideas in Shiny, like reactivity and things like that, will come very naturally as we move further along in Shiny gadgets. So what I'd like everyone to do now is, before going on to the next video, just grab this code from the lecture notes, run it once, and then we'll move on to some more complex